What are your thoughts on, I guess this is directed towards men. What are your thoughts specifically on semen retention, abstinence, and practicing a life of celibacy, especially in the gay community and LGBTQ community? This is a question from my brother because he's, I guess, part of that community, but he's also writing a book
hmm
about, it's coming out probably in the next year or so, called Purpose Over Pleasure. And it's about how his entire life in the gay community was a life of promiscuity. And this is why I said earlier how, I mean, he's like almost 38 now, but it wasn't until like the last 2 years where he left that life of promiscuity, going on the apps, just hooking up for a quick fix, whatever. Um, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
Well, I guess so. I have a little more clarity. Is this like permanent celibacy, or is this a
uh,
celibacy with a specific goal?
his goal is a celibacy until kind of like he's on this path of like celibacy until he finds like the one, kind of like a
Okay.
traditional,
Yeah.
um but this is like almost 20 years of just like dozens of
Right.
different people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my thoughts on it is do what feels good to you. And I
Mm,
think it's really, really important. And this goes for the gay community in terms of the promiscuity. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing just because they're
yeah.
gay. And I think
Mm,
that's what the gay, and I could say this, I'm part of the gay community. So
mm,
I think that's part of what I see happening in the gay community. So, for example, like in the
mm,
last 20 years, like the rise of open relationships,
yeah.
I'm not opposed to them if that works for you. But what I see more often than not with these kind of couples is that there's one person that wants it more than the other. So why is it not an equal? Um,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that goes into almost people pleasing where we're doing something to keep that person. And I think a lot
Mm,
of the trauma, the pain and the discomfort of being in this community comes from us feeling like we might have to conform to something because all the other gay people around us are doing it, which probably comes from us, having to be an outlier of the community we've grown up in until we've come out and lived our life as an openly gay person. So taking some time and go, this doesn't feel right to me, just like your brother sounds like he's doing, and go with what feels good and not what everyone else is doing. I think we live in such an extroverted world outside of the gay community that a lot of us are conforming to other people's values. And we need to start individualizing them to ourselves.
100%. That's why he feels like he's like the there's like this saying, it's like you're the uncommon amongst uncommon, you're the minority of
hmm
the minority.
hmm
And that's what he feels because he's conservative values, traditional values. He did live this life of promiscuity, but he's over it. He wants to just settle down and let go of, I guess, the pressures of and societal expectations of the culture and surrounded around sex and intimacy.
hmm
But I love that. I love that answer.
And I don't think he's that much of a minority
You
as
don't think so?
he may think he is. I think he just might need to filter out the noise.
Yeah, it's like that's all he sees, but he hasn't met enough people like him
hmm
to open that up.
And it's only human nature. We focus on what we don't like or don't want more.
Hmm.
So the people that could be like you might be slipping by you and you not even notice because you're too noticed
Yeah,
on what you don't want to be a
on what
part of.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.